Hey everyone, I wanted to stop by real quick before this podcast starts and say you should like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to follow me on all my social medias at John D. Clouser. It's literally the same name as the name that you subscribe to on this YouTube channel. So enjoy this clip, and I'll see you guys on the other side. Boom! Only the fifth take. Fifth.
Good, and rolling. Okie dokie. That's it. Oh, God! Oh! That's it. Oh! Oh! Oh!
All right. How are you guys? Doing well? Okay, what's up? How are you? This is like the fifth time me starting this podcast. I keep fucking up on words. So what's going on? Hi. So this is the John Show. I'm your host, John D. Clouser. You know what? The fact that I had to start this over 5 different times because I kept being like, what? At the beginning should really show you the growth that I have made on this show. It should show you. You should be like, wow, you know what? Like, John, you've done this 32 times so far by yourself. You sat in a room on the 3rd floor of a mansion in Kansas City, Missouri, and you spill yourself out to the world, and you still haven't learned anything at this. Like, you know what's so great? What's so great about doing things that you're not good at all? As much as I would love to think that I'm like such a great filmmaker and, I'm like the best podcaster in the world. And, I'm just someone here trying to inspire people to be bigger than who they are. That is who I'm trying to do. Like, I really wish I could feed into that sort of BS. Like, I really do. I can't. I'm just a guy here with a squeaky ass chair. Like, come on, guys. Like, whoa. Like, you know what? I think this is what sums up. I was just gonna kind of ease into this episode instead. I'm like, you know what? Fuck it, we're going straight. Fuck it, we're doing it live, guys. So this week, guys, has probably been the chillest week of all of the pandemic. When you think, from a great debate, we had an amazing debate. I didn't see anything wrong with it. To the fact that there's football games now that have been canceled, and then. You know what? Also, that's great is the fact that our president of the United States of America tested positive. Him and his wife tested positive, and when I found out that Donald Trump tested positive for corona, I was just thinking, I was like, I just wish they made something that helped prevent you from getting COVID or something like that. If they have only made some sort of device that helped you from not getting the disease, I wonder. I just sit here and I wonder, guys, we as a nation, as the United States of America has won with that debate that we did, the debate that we have caused this upon ourselves. Because we refuse to do simple things like wear a mask. But yet, we will repost stupid inspirational memes. But yet we won't listen to scientists who know how to split atoms. And we're like, are you sure you really know about if we wear a mask, this will really maybe curve the whole, disease? Like, are you sure? It's like, come on, guys. And guys, I didn't swim and then jump over a bunch of walls illegally to get here for this bullshit. I didn't. Okay, you know what? I didn't. My forefathers, they have worked their hands off, mowing yards, blowing tree limbs, and leaves, so that we don't have to deal with this. It's like. Guys, oh man, this week has been crazy. And then add on to the fact that the Chiefs game, maybe I'm just upset that the Chiefs game got canceled. And then the fact that like last week, my great Rams, my amazing, damn near perfect Rams got cheated with a freaking pass interference call that ended up like causing that let Buffalo. And I can understand Seattle. I can lose to the 49ers even though they're dog shit this year. Hell, I could handle losing to Arizona. But not the Bills. Not the Bills. And you know what the fucking craziest thing about that whole damn game is the fact that we were losing. Like we had 12 unanswered points, 20 unanswered points, something like that. It was ridiculous. But guys, I digress. We really do. I used to think too, we kind of sat back, we kind of got a little lazy. We were thinking like, okay, we're doing this. We're in the back nine of this disease, this thing called COVID. And now, guys, everything was fun in games, but we're losing football games now. Like games are having to be postponed. The whole football teams are having to get tested, and it's just because of one thing. Like just one thing. It's just that we just refuse to pull together and be on one consistent, or is it consistent, one consecutive piece of paper. So now I lost my own track of thought. The key thing of the thing is just wear a mask, guys. Come on, can we just do this? Like, we defeated Russia in the Cold War. Hell, we bombed Japan in World War II. Now, why can't we just put a mask on? But I can't breathe, John. I can't breathe. It's like, you know what? If you think breathing's hard now. Well, that's so cliche. It's like, I was going to say like, if you think breathing hard's now, if you think it's hard now, think about how it'd be when the COVID has gotten your lungs. But I hope you guys are great. This is what happens on day 1526 of COVID. So, it's fun. We're here. We're alive. Are you guys doing well? Hope you guys are doing great. Oh man, this is crazy. So what else do I have to talk about? So I guess it's like I got on this huge rant. You know what? Something that makes me feel like a giant piece of shit. If we're just going to be completely honest, something that makes me feel like a complete dummy is that is when you totally forget to zip up your pants, and then you're just walking around the day. You're like, hey Sam, hi Sarah. And then you're just walking, just do down the street, and not realizing that you have your zipper unzipped. And where it angers me, the fact that whenever I do it, because I did it this past week, I got ready after the gym, went to work, and somewhere in the middle there, I switched pants, and somehow I just totally forgot to zip the zipper. It's almost one of those things where when you miss it and you forget about it, what makes me feel like a piece of shit about it is because I'm like, John, you pulled the pants up, you put it around your waist, you have a belt, you have to put a belt on too, so you put the belt on, and then how did you go from not zipping the zipper to buttoning the pants and putting a belt on? You missed the first step of three. What is your problem, man? And I really sit there and I'm like, John, dude, you're a grown adult, you are an adult person who pays taxes, and you have bills and you pay them, and how are you forgetting to zip up your pants? It's just one of the most horrendous feelings I have in my heart sometimes whenever I forget that. And guys, let's not forget, there's one thing that I need to remind you guys is that don't forget that Houston Astros cheated last year in the World Series. I might be just an angry guy because I'm a Dodgers fan. I might be just an angry fan. But I'm just saying, guys, Houston cheated last year. Houston cheated last year. And let's not forget about that. And that's the most important thing about this whole COVID is that Houston cheated. And they don't deserve that championship that they got last year. We deserve that one. That was ours that we should have gotten if you guys wouldn't have been banging around on drums and shit. It's like, there's all these different ways to cheat. Like, why can't you just cheat like a normal person? You know, like take steroids, pay for your roster, do things like that. Be an adult instead of banging around on damn drums like a fucking asshole. Like, Jesus Christ. Oh, guys, I am on one this week. I think this has just been a intense week. This is my first week. This is my first weekend. So I do this I normally do it on Sunday, but it's Saturday. I have Sunday and Monday off, or normally my off days, but we haven't had those just because things have been really busy at my job. Like, what I do right now is I work in the food industry because I had a film job because of COVID, and we had to do a bunch of traveling. I'm like, fuck that. That's not smart. That's like the least smart thing to do right now. And so I've been working in the food industry, and we've been just kind of like, because I know you guys really care about this. Like, when you guys are like, you know what, John has a new episode, I want to hear what he does in his during the week. But we just haven't. And so this is my first 2 days off, and maybe I'm just like really excited. I'm really amped. I took 3 shots of espresso before this. This is like maybe the 15th shot all day. I live off this stuff, guys. I drink water. And then when I'm not drinking water, I take shots of espresso and hot chocolate because I'm an adult. Most people just like take the shot of espresso. I'm like, no, give me some hot chocolate and then put 3 shots of espresso in that shit. If I can, like, the greatest thing I find, and especially now it's starting to get a little bit cooler, and especially I don't like this weather, and it's like it's lotion weather now for me because like I'm light enough where like I can get away with more days without putting lotion on than the average brown person. Which is awesome. It's one of the great things that like I have in my life as a brown person, as a very light complected Hispanic person. I get as a privilege is that like I don't have to put lotion on all the time. I can sometimes space out if shit hits the fan and I don't have lotion for a minute, it's okay. I can I just will take it easier on my baths and do more of a fluff instead of a hard scrub, those little things. And then I can go a little bit longer. I have no idea what I'm talking about, guys. Like, I've burnt through almost all my stuff that I wanted to talk about this week so far because I just went ham and I didn't set myself up for success, if you want to say, kind of like the debates. If anything has taught me about this is that, man, guys, that debate was awful. Like, what are we thinking? Like, is there people who still think that Trump might be a good president? Is there people there that like didn't blatantly see his racism when he was like, can you just like denounce, white supremacists? And he's like, nah, he's like, it is, it is what it is. He just sat there. He was just like, and everyone's like, all the brown people are like, whoa, guys, what the fuck? Like, wow. I'm like, we thought we didn't have a chance back in, back in 2012. Oh boy. Oh, good God. Dude, God. But again, I digress. What's going on with you? What's going on with y'all? I want to say thank you guys so much. This is going to be a guy for the next 15 minutes. This is going to be a guy who's going to be slowly just kind of coast his way out of a podcast. Just watch. I guess actually technically it's like 16 minutes, but in 16 minutes, it's every once in a while when like I feel like when bombing, what always happens for me is that I'm sitting here, I'm like looking to the camera, like talking to you right now, but in my head what I'm seeing the 60 minutes clock, little things like tick 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 tick. That's what I'm seeing in my head. I'm like, it's like this was the whole thing I had to do it, and like it's moved like that much. It's like, and I'm still sitting here like, okay, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna get through this? It's like, and honestly, guys, it's a podcast, and this is one of the funny things. Like when I think during the week, and I'm like, right before I post, if you're not following me, you should follow me on my social medias at John D. Clouser. This is the funny thing about me. Every time I'm about to post something, I'm always like, John, because I imagine what people think about what I'm doing, and this might be a little bit what's the word that they use, the English word for a little self-involved. Yeah, that's the best thing about it. That's the best thing to put about it, is that this level of but you have to. I feel like you have to have this level of like, and also this level of thinking that your shit doesn't smell. But every time I'm about to post like online something, like, hey, it's a new episode, or hey, this is another thing I'm doing. This is another thing I'm doing. You should check out this, because I have multiple things. If you guys might like this, and once you're done with this episode, you can check out the Aaron and John show, which comes out on Thursdays. But when you subscribe, if you haven't subscribed, you should also subscribe right now. You automatically get the show, and you get the show on Thursday. And then on iTunes or on Spotify or Google Play, you can check out the Cool Baby podcast on any form. And I'm not really on it. I kind of pop in every once in a while. I'm the producer for that. And that's really what I wanted to do. Like, I as fun as this stuff is, and this is a huge learning experience for me by doing a podcast by myself, because I've been doing this stuff forever. I was just kind of like thinking, I should just, try it out and just be like, fuck it, John, just do a podcast by yourself. And, when you're on the podcast, you can just do things like and just have fun with it. And, fuck it. If it sounds good, it sounds good. If it doesn't, it doesn't, because the thing is, guys, is that there's like, I watch so many people come to me all the time. It's like, hey, John, so you do all this podcast and stuff, but it's like, like how do you start it? And so I'm like, I get super excited, because I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, I can like maybe help this person like learn how to do this podcasting thing, or like just film stuff, and like maybe I can inspire someone. Like that's where my little brain goes sometimes. I'm like, oh yeah, maybe I can help this person. They can be bigger than me. They can be bigger than what I am, but I can just be like, I help this person up, because this is how that's how my mindset works with this, is that. And then I'm like, and I watch some of their episodes. I'm like, yeah, you guys are like, decent, a little rough still, because like everyone is a little rough at the beginning of this. Like, check out my episode 1 versus how I am now. Like, I'm nowhere close to probably the level of being comfortable at doing this and just talking for literally 30 minutes straight. It's kind of crazy. It's so insane to me sometimes, where I think, and I'm like, I post online and I'm just like, oh my God, why does anyone want to watch this? And I get into this like hot sweat. And then the second thing is, I'm like, why? Like, you have some level of real craziness, John, that you think that people want to take time out of their day, time out of a pandemic right now, and listen to you talk in a microphone. This is hilarious, and it is absurd. Please, I hope y'all know this, that is absurd to me as it is to like that I do this. I'm just like, you know what? Hey, I'm a boy with a dream, and you're gonna see my name in lights, Dad. Like, it's hilarious. It's the funniest thing in the world that I just have this. I'm like, I'm just going to do it. And I'm going to do it. And then what I do is I just have competitions with myself. I'm like, okay, John, like you can do this. Like, you do a little bit more. Like, instead, like, it's kind of like the same thing when you're like running. And you're like, I'm going to run a mile. And you're like, okay, that was pretty easy. Let's run another mile. And you're like, okay, let's like do one more lap. You're like really, really tired. And you're like, okay, well, I can just be done at the end of this lap. And then you get to the end of the lap and you're like, oh, fuck it. I'm just going to run to one more lap. Because if I do one more lap, then it's going to lead, I'm going to be like halfway to another mile. And then like by the time you're at the end of that, you're like, well, hell, like if I only just do, 2 more laps and I've done another mile. And it's just one of those things. And it's been really fun, guys. But really what I'm trying to say is like the views, they go up tiny, tiny bits. Nothing. But in the grand scheme of things, because, what is this for what it is? It just is a guy talking about nothing, really, honestly. Like, I come off hard, like, at the beginning, and then at the tail end of the 30 minutes, I'm just kind of like, you know what? Let's just talk, and let's see if I can get anything out of this for a story or something, which has been a really, talking about stories, I guess we could talk about, is that my writing. So I write every day. The goal is, like, if you watch the Aaron and John show, then you see how, like, I have these I take little scraps of paper and I'll write down ideas, and I take that and then I move it over to my iPhone, and I keep them there. And then for my iPhone, I'll just like look through them, and I will just take it and I'll type it. And it really is an idea for a sentence. So I'll have an idea, and it'll be whatever. Like the grass is green. I'm like, the grass is green on a October day, 1975, and that might be the sentence, and that all that does is help me. And if I think in my mind is if I can write a bunch of those little random sentences in a day, then I can maybe I could have like a paragraph or paragraph and a half, something random. And with that, I'm like, okay. And the new goal is it used to be just trying to write a short story just to write one. Now I'm like at the point where I'm like, okay, John, you've been doing this long enough, and you have enough of these little pieces of papers that you should, I feel like there's two things you need to do when writing. One, you need to learn the story structure of a storyline of how you want to do it. So coming age story, or if you want to do a man versus nature story, or a man versus man story, or a man versus, himself story, something like that. And then once you figure that out, then actually coming out to ideas that are related to that story, which is once you figure out the structure and you want to do it, and you realize that you can have a main header idea. So the main header could be the grass is green. Then under that, what you're going to do is you can describe that the grass has dew on it, which bounces off the light and makes it look like it has glitter on top. And the next sentence after that would be then Susie then walks across the grass, and think of a close-up shot of her foot, and then you can. Then the next sentence after that, then she's walking on the grass. Then the next one would be the third sentence would be, you could see the rippling of the bones in her feet. I'm thinking of an idea. I'm just saying, and then I feel like if you can just write little things enough like that, then you can write a whole little idea, and that whole little idea will build onto this bigger thing, kind of how this is how I've just kind of went from talking from beginning of the podcast talking about debate. Now I'm talking about a structure to how to write a paragraph to a story, and that's basically how you write. That's how I think of when I write. But now it's been trying to write a short story every month. So about anything now, it actually honestly has helped me a lot, because it's just opened up the thing. Instead of thinking about okay, I want to do a story about this guy and this girl, or I want to do about this guy and how he's trying to deal with this internal struggle, and then I spend months and months and months trying to hammer that out. This is kind of okay, a story about me going from my house to the gym, but I had to at the meantime go to get gas. And so I run into a guy, and I ask, and we make eye contact, and he says, how are you? And I'm like, I'm good. How are you? And he says, 2 tears in the bucket, fuck it, something like that. And then once I get to the gym, I end up getting a flat tire. I go and I work out, and then when I'm coming out, I have a flat tire, and then I have to describe getting a flat tire fixed by either me fixing it, or I call AAA, and AAA comes, or AAA, I call them, and they're well, it's gonna take us 2 hours, and I'm well, fuck it. And then I go and I try to talk to some guy who I don't know, who's a stranger, and I ask him, hey, do you know how to change a tire? And then I become his best friend, and that's boom, and then there's a story right there. And it's more of things like that, and it's just honestly helped me a lot in quick, fast movements in my writing style. If this is interesting at all to you guys, I feel like I've kind of ran this episode off the rails. What else? Something I noticed this week. There's 2 things I noticed this week. One, white people. Why do you guys like hiking so much? It seems a horrendous thing to do to yourself. It does not seem fun. It's our forefathers worked hundreds of years to build buildings and have running water in those buildings and have toilets in those buildings and things like that, for us to not have to do things like hiking, because that seems horrendous. It seems it doesn't seem fun. Why? And you carry around a backpack, and you wear boots, and you have to watch out for snakes. I'm good, dude. I'm good. We worked way too hard to get out of that, to be back into that. And then the second thing I realized was, you all white people really like pickles. Why do you guys like pickles so much? They're not good. Is it because it's such a a compliment to whatever you're eating, because I don't get it. I just don't understand. Like, because I saw a bunch of white people just eat up a bunch of pickles today. Like, it was like the last set you would ever see, like the last bowl of pickles. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Pickles? Like, why pickles out of all things? Like, woof. And I'm sorry for saying peas all the time. Pickles. But yeah, fuck. What else is there? I guess I should end it with I end it with every week. So the movie of the week, what you should check out, it's on Netflix. If you have Netflix, you should definitely check it out. The movie's called A Serious Man. It's by the Coen brothers. It got an 8 out of 10 on Rotten Tomatoes. It's pretty good. If you're not familiar with the Coen brothers, they're two guys who are brothers. And the reason why they call the Coen brothers because they direct, like either one of them will direct the movie and then the other one will produce it and vice versa. But it's a movie it was so crazy because I was looking up a little bit of the facts for it before the podcast because it's one of my favorite movies I've ever watched. It's my favorite Coen brothers film. Overall, I would say it's my third favorite movie. Jurassic Park would be number 1. Then I would have to say number 2 would be Inglourious Bastards, and number 3 would be A Serious Man. So, but what I looked up was like the budget for the movie was only $7 million, which is nothing. The baseline for like a small movie, like a small budget movie, is $10 million. So this thing was peanuts in the scheme of movies, and ended up grossing $31 million. And it got nominated for Best Picture, and it won a bunch of other. I don't think it really won much of anything, but I know it. I guess I should have looked that up. I'm gonna look up awards. Let's look up awards. But it got 31. It grossed 31 million worldwide. Awards. It might have gotten. It got 2010 Independent Spirit Award, cinematography, nominated for Best Picture. It got AFI Movie of the Year 2009. So yeah, like it got nominated for things, but like it didn't win like an Oscar for anything. But it's really good and it's really Jewy. It's what I like. It has like this really cool Jew humor. It's kind of like an even drier version of Seinfeld. It's like a really dark episode of Seinfeld. That's probably the best way to describe it. Like this guy has like these really fucked up things that happen to him. And as much as you don't want to laugh about it, you can't help but find it hilarious because his son hates him. His wife leaves him for another guy. That guy dies. And then he is having to pay for the funeral. And that's what it's like really effed up things like that. But you're like, once you see him happen, you're like, oh my God, that's like really a little bit it's kind of funny in a weird effed up way, but maybe I find it a little bit weird and effed up. But that's a movie you should definitely check out. It's on Netflix. A Serious Man, the Coen brothers. But yeah, so we have like what? I have like a minute 40 left in this episode. So I just want to say, if you guys gotten this far, kudos to you. To me, I'm like, fuck yeah, dude, I did it. I got another week done. I sat in a room and I talked to myself, and I did it. But yeah, so if you've gotten this far, please like, comment, or subscribe. What's really cool is if you guys subscribe and give it a thumbs up. The thumbs up are really just a cool little like judge saying like, okay, boom, I actually had someone sit and watch this. Like that's really awesome. So if you do sit, like it's easy, just like click the button up. Ow. This podcast will be up on iTunes eventually. Aaron and I are on Monday, I have to do a Skype podcast with Aaron. We're Skyping in with another comedian from Colorado, and that'll be on Cool Baby Podcast. That one comes out on Friday. And if you just subscribe to it on YouTube, or not YouTube, but iTunes and all that stuff, then you can get it like that. We're going to sit down and he's going to help us get the Aaron and John show on iTunes and all that stuff, as well as get my show up on iTunes. Because like as much as like I want to have a video version of this, I also want to have just a straight audio version. So I want to see how all that works. And you should definitely check me out on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram because that's where I do a lot of my stuff. You'll see a lot of my stuff, my photography. You'll see things for the podcast, little clips of the podcast, the other podcasts that I do. And you'll see my daily stories. Like what I'm trying to do, I'm slowly trying to make my Instagram into like a hub for production of things that I produce. So I'm like my memes and stuff that I do in the morning, that's mostly just me doing that for like, it's like funnies, like a morning funnies kind of thing. But I need to go, guys, because this is going to cut out pretty soon. So like, comment, and subscribe. Give this video a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys on the next episode. Bye. Be safe. Wear masks. Pray for us. If you're a foreigner, pray for us that we figure this whole president thing out. And I didn't even talk about how he got COVID and how I think that was a conspiracy theory. He may or may not have it. That's a thought that's out there in the world right now. You should look it up. Bye. Bye. I love you. Bye.